Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Lincoln Wishlist sales event is happening now. Here's what's on everyone's wish list. Enjoying holiday jingles with brilliant 3D audio that surrounds you? Check. Watching snow flurries through the panoramic Vista roof? Check. Packing up presents with the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Check. Everything you want. All standard on the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com for exceptional offers on 2025 Lincoln vehicles today.
This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning again. Hello there, morning family. It's Another Side of Midnight. It's me, TJ McCormack, and it is Sunday morning, the 28th, and we are at 8 minutes past the hour, 7:08 right here in Liverpool in the UK. Talking to you live from Merseyside in Great Britain, from the living room studio of George and Irene Murphy. Yes, I'm still here with the in-laws and loving every minute of it. Loving all of this. Definitely, I'm a holiday guy. I'm definitely, and I absolutely find myself, hopeful for a great next year. I got to be honest with you, though. This is something that I've been really back and forth on. I've been really back and forth on whether or not I was going to talk about this. And my back and forthness, my ambiguity, my reticence in talking about this is I'm experiencing something in real time that I hear when it comes to victims in general. Now, there are straight up victims, and there are victims who with self-inflicted wounds, home goals, as they call it in soccer and football. Basically, when you do it to yourself, when it's stupid. Now, very often, you hear about, victim shaming. Somebody gets mugged or assaulted, they shouldn't have gone into that neighborhood, and or that girl shouldn't have been, in that bar or wearing that skirt or whatever, all of the and then you also have this other version of victim. And I think I'm talking about it because I gotta be totally honest with you guys. I was totally the only reason that my stand-up act worked was because I never really made stuff up. When I was a stand-up comic, all I did was just tell true stories from my life. A little bit of embellishment here and there, but true stories. And it made me relatable and believable and credible. And I need that with everybody here. And so, at the risk of completely embarrassing myself, which I couldn't do any more than I've already internalized and set enough shame upon myself. So I've been self-victim shaming, especially because I did this to myself. And you'll see where I'm going within probably 60 seconds. So basically, you can precede every sentence of this little story with like an idiot, ... Like an idiot, ... Now, I'm 57 years old. And I don't know, and by the way, I don't know if I'm reducing my credibility with you guys as just a thinking human being, or as a father, or as a spouse. In other words, how stupid could I be? It was a momentary lapse of judgment that actually, okay, let me go. I see you can, by the way, I'm putting it off, right? You can tell, right? I'm stalling. I'm stalling. So, okay, here it comes. And by the way, 1-800-848-9222. Say hi to Yuri when you call. 1-800-848-9222. All right. So I'm here in Liverpool. I'm a big supporter and fan of the Liverpool Football Club. And yesterday there was a home match. Okay. It was a home match on Saturday. And prior to not, and by the way, I'm feeling much better. You can hear my throat, my voice. It truly healed up, over the last, rest that I had between yesterday and today. And prior to not feeling well, I really wanted to go to the match. And like an idiot, I started scooting around a few different websites for tickets. Now, for some stupid reason, I didn't go to, and again, as I tell this story, I don't know where my judgment went. And perhaps that's part of the bigger conversation is, every once in a while we just do something that is just not characteristic. I didn't go to a couple of different typical ticket resell sites. And yeah, I know they charge a premium. It wasn't that. I don't know why I didn't go there. I'm willing to pay a premium. You want to go to the match. That's not the issue. What I did do, though, was I went to a person on a social media site that I had previously done business with. And when I had previously done business with this person, it all went swimmingly. And it was about 2 or 3 years ago while I was here in Liverpool. And this time, rather than go to again, established ticket resale sites or other resources, for some reason, I went back to this particular social media app, and engaged with who I thought was the person I had previously done business with. And I said, hey, I'm in town, interested in going to the match. Do you have anything? They came back and they said yes, and they gave me a price and a boop. And the price was exactly what I expected. The terminology they used was that of, and you already know where I'm going. I'm gone now, right? I'm gone. This horse is gone. This horse is galloped. You know where and I'm not headed for the finish line. I am headed for the stables, clearly. Anyway, long story short, I end up I gotta say it out loud. I have to say it out loud. I have to say it out loud to be honest and have credibility. I went ahead and paid, at least by the grace of God, via PayPal. No bank transfers here. No, nothing like that. But I paid via PayPal. And, needless to say, after I kicked out, and again, not a massive sum, couple of hundred, pounds for 2 tickets that, of course, were never delivered. I was scammed. And there were several points along the way where I did know better. My brain wasn't completely turned off. 1-800-848-9222. Momentary lapse of judgment. My brain was not completely short-circuited. I was going through email addresses. I was Googling phone numbers. I was Googling and searching up and AI searching, the email accounts and different phone numbers and all these different things, names that came up in the process and didn't deliver any red flags. And there were a couple, but the thing is my filters were on. My radar was pinging. And then at the last moment, as I sat there, I remember the moment that I hit pay on PayPal. I knew I shouldn't. This was not the only place to go and do what I wanted to do. And again, this is not about TJ and a soccer game and tickets and whatever. This is about or the scam. Yes, I've gone through some panicky moments where I thought, Jesus Christ, what did I give up? Oh my God, did I expose myself, my family, my wife to fraud? Is somebody going to be, is there going to be a gypsy living in my house when I get home, et cetera, et cetera. Boy, I never actually did think that one. Okay. New thing to be fearful of. No, I honestly, it is just plain stupidity. And I've gotten through the initial odd set of fears and the panic that I might have truly exposed myself and really, and I had to keep reminding myself that the fact that I went through, a site like PayPal and that I, at least there was that buffer there and I didn't do any bank transfers. I didn't expose any, any other stuff. And, Yeah. So it was, and the thing that I was feeling, the most tangible was not fear. The most tangible thing was not fear. It wasn't panic. It wasn't loss. It wasn't anger, except for a ton of it at myself. It was, and this is interesting, and this is what sort of opened my eyes to something that I hadn't, because I had come this close to exactly this scam, exactly this kind of scam, several times. Once dealing with an airline issue, somebody popped up pretending to be somebody and they weren't. Another time it was some other customer service thing. And I caught it midstream and went, woof, dodged that one. Whoa. I was telling friends, you would not believe how close I came to being scared, but I picked it up at the last minute. My radar was up. And this time, stupidly, I mean, it was touching the hot iron, except this dopey lab rat didn't learn. This dopey lab rat poked his nose into the electric socket and kept going this time. And so the most tangible, the most profound reaction that I had, and this was the epiphany for me, was shame. I was so unbelievably ashamed of myself. As I kind of said in the preamble to this, I was ashamed as a caretaker of my family. I was embarrassed and ashamed as a husband. I was embarrassed and ashamed as a father. I was embarrassed and ashamed as, I would like to think, a credible, what did I talk about yesterday? Walking around knowledge. Yesterday we were talking about cocktail party information, walking around not knowing a little about a lot. And how I try to encourage my daughters to know a little about a lot. I know a little about a lot and a lot about a few things. And I like to think that I'm somewhat of a credible resource or source for the family, for listeners of Another Side of Midnight. And some credibility with the Red Apple Audio Networks and Mr. Katzmatidis and Chad Lopez and everybody and the fellas in the booth back in New York. And I felt I had zero of that for 24 hours more. Last thing I thought of before I went to bed, first thing I thought of when my eyes opened, and all day obsessed on what a loser I am. What an idiot. What an absolute, vapid, empty vessel. A broken, empty vessel. I was. Stupid, stupid, stupid. And so this is kind of what I talk about when I talk about sobriety and living out loud. And our secrets will kill us. We're as sick as our secrets. We're as sick as the stuff that we keep inside will fester. And hopefully, if a conversation ensues about this, there's plenty else we can talk about. If none of you guys want to hit this, then great, fine, we shall move on. If anybody has anything to relate to this, if anybody has opinions or thoughts about any of what I'm talking about, the shame and embarrassment of being a victim and a reticence to come forward. We hear all the time about people who don't report crimes, especially women who don't report assaults, sexual assaults, especially because of what I said at the very, very tippity top of this hour, which is that people are often judgmental of somebody who goes into a dangerous, quote unquote, dangerous area, or wear, quote unquote, provocative clothing, or do or say something that is provocative, or outlandish, or dangerous. Serves them right. If somebody had told me at some point yesterday, if a family member who I had spoken to about this had looked at me and gone, serves you right, what kind of flipping husband are you? Do your daughters actually trust you for information? I might have broken down. I might have crawled into a hole. Certainly would have been the last person I told. Would have been the last time that I was ever honest with somebody. Thank God they didn't. That was wonderful. They were kind about it. Anyway, 1-800-848-9222. Got to take a break. This is Another Side of Midnight. Didn't plan on talking about this. This was that last thing. I always say a quick prayer right before the light goes on. And to make sure that I'm opening with the right thing, because it sort of sets the tone for the entire damn show. And I don't know. We'll see. 1-800-848-9222. This is what we're talking about, at least for the moment. And plenty of other stuff. This is the last show before the new year. And so we'll definitely get some predictions cooking. We'll definitely talk about what happened over the year, et cetera, et cetera. In the meantime, take a quick break. And we shall return here on Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormack, on the Red Apple Audio Network's 1-800-848-9222.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Didn't exactly cry. I didn't exactly cry because I was not in a position. I didn't get that emotional. Although I was aching. I was aching as I walked around with the knowledge that I had been duped and felt so stupid. And there was a certain amount of relief. I mean, it was the mishmash. It was the complete cornucopia of emotions. God knows we're capable of, massive amounts of conflicting, colliding emotions for any given thing. And there were certainly moments of relief that it didn't go any further than it did. And it wasn't that stupid, and it didn't. Well, no, I'm sorry. It was that stupid that it wasn't that pervasive, the potential damage done. But anyway, thank you to my buddy Bill Lee in New York for the self-effacing music. That's good stuff. All right. So 1-800-848-9222 here on Another Side of Midnight. It's our pre-New Year's New Year's Eve program coming up in a couple of days. It's the last day. It's the last week of 2025, and it's the last show of 2025 for sure. And so eventually we'll get into a little bit of the new year kind of stuff, some predictions, some regrets for the year past, some if you guys had any sort of big wins, any wonderful victories, any milestones. We'll kick all that around, and we'll talk a few other things as the morning goes on. A little bit of politics too, a little bit of current events for sure. Later today, Zelensky is, I think he's going to Florida to visit with Trump. He's going to be swimming to meet with Trump. And this will be about 24 hours after about 400 drones and 50 missiles hit Kyiv in an overnight raid from Putin. Lovely Vladimir. All right. So let's see. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Kate in Boston. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, TJ. I wanted to call and console you. I know exactly what you went through, because it happened to me this year. And all of the words you said are exactly the reaction. And it just struck me as so evil that there's such evil in the world that people do this to us.
Yeah.
And when you describe the other times of being, of just pulling back at the last minute and saying, "Oh, I dodged the bullet."
Yeah.
And this time, oh, the guy was so nice, and I was saying to myself, and so helpful. Just wanted to help me with this problem. And PayPal was their favorite channel. And I have barely recovered. not financially, but in being able to just go online and have transactions or have people say, because it just undermines you so much.
Yeah. Your confidence. What happened to you? If you don't mind.
A thing popped up. Well, first of all, may I test real quick? I'll just tell you that when it shattered my sobriety that I had for a long time, and I today have 109 days and got through the sober holidays and the trifecta.
Good.
And I called you when I had 65 days and was counting days.
I remember that.
And
Kate.
I told you how hard it was and that I was trying to get it back. And the thing that so shattered me was it said I had an Apple credit card, and my Apple credit card had a charge of $200 and some odd, and I don't have an Apple credit card. And so then they called, and I wasn't dumb enough to click on something. I wrote down the number, and then I called it.
Right.
And once I called them, there was somebody there. Oh, let me help you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we can see here what has happened. And then, I almost don't want to relive it all.
I understand.
And, the things that were triggering, the things that would have protected me, like, this sounds like a gangster from Pakistan.
Yep.
And then I said, in my own mind, I said, no, you can't be prejudiced. You can't be judgmental.
Right.
I think I even said out loud, I wish they would hire people from America. Not that Americans aren't thieves.
Right.
But
right.
And, it's every gut post I went through, and then, and the whole time they were trying to help me. And when I tried to straighten it all out, and it was thousands of dollars, and I called the police, and there's nothing they can do. And PayPal did nothing to back up. I said, you did it. You did this. You had this as a pending thing.
Right.
But they did nothing. I'll do nothing. PayPal is their avenue. I don't think anyone should use PayPal under any circumstances.
Yeah, no, I mean, at least, the one thing that I'm grateful for is that I've got that I didn't use a bank transfer. I didn't do anything like that. I used PayPal, and the PayPal.
But you know what? I used PayPal to transfer money back and forth to my bank account.
Yeah.
And they went back to my bank account through the PayPal.
Really?
Yes. PayPal was very lucrative. I don't want to worry you more.
No, it's good to hear that.
From my own experience of having this happen. Right. And, I can say now at the end of the year, it was only a couple thousand. And when you see what the transfer rate is to where the payments actually go, it's unbelievable. They get a lot of money. That more. And it's terrible that people do this to other people because it's so damaging to our psyches, and we're fragile.
Yeah. Kate. All right, love. Well, listen.
But the truth is, you can get sober, and you don't have to drink over it.
Exactly. You don't have to drink over it. You don't have to drink over it. You don't have to drink over it. Thank God I didn't drink over it. And maybe I'm being selfish by talking about this on the air to protect my sobriety, to get it out and confront it and say it big.
That's exactly what you have to do. And I did cry. Yeah. I cried a lot, but I'm a girl.
You're so cute. All right, Kate. Well, listen, have a happy, sober New Year.
It'll be okay.
Yes,
and the New Year's going to be better.
Damn
and the
right.
way you can tell if you're getting scammed is if somebody's on the phone being really nice and helpful to you and spending a lot of time and going to take care of this for you and don't worry about it. Because then when I tried to straighten it all out, to try to get a real person on the phone to help you with the problem.
Right. Yeah, no.
They
Doesn't
don't
exist.
act the
Doesn't
same
exist.
way.
Doesn't exist.
No.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you so
unicorn.
much for calling, love, and have a great new year.
Welcome. You'll be home soon. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Kate. That's awesome. It's 36 minutes past the hour. It is another side of midnight. I'm TJ McCormack and Michael on the east side. Michael, good morning.
Hey, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm thinking about if I graduated as valedictorian from college, which I did not, I would have told everybody I knew, but my circle of friends is not as large as your circle on the phone. So, point is, why do a nationwide audience publicize something that you did that was foolish when there was so many ways of buying tickets that are approved?
It's killing me. Michael, it's killing me. That logic is absolutely accurate. I'm telling you, man, you know what? And here's the truth. I genuinely don't know. It was almost like, in retrospect, it was like an out-of-body experience. It's like my brain and my judgment, for the most part, took a leave of absence. And go ahead.
Okay, so you had a lapse of judgment, agreeing.
Massive, egregious.
Why would you want to publicize that to a nationwide audience? I think there is one food that you probably do not eat, and that is Wise potato chips.
Oh, well done. Well, at least I didn't eat them leading up to this stupid decision. I did not eat. There was nothing wise in me or about me for about 15 minutes the other day. And like I said too, Michael, the time leading up to it, I did in fact have the filters up. And I was stopping but I kept going. And it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for a lot of things. It's a metaphor for sobriety. It's a metaphor and it tells me too, look, man, in order to pick up a drink, in order to pick up a drug, in order to place a bet, an addict has to go through a bunch of decisions, a bunch of hurdles, a bunch of filters, a bunch of buffers, like in The Godfather. Yeah, a lot of buffers. You have to go through a lot. And in order to get yourself to the point where you're going to actually wrap your fingers around a glass or a bottle or a needle or a whatever to make a bet and bring it to your lips, put it in your arm, put the pill on your tongue, whatever it is, light the joint, whatever. And I displayed the same number of and degree of decisions and choices that ultimately I went the wrong way in this case. And so it's a metaphor for a lot of different things. And also I wanted to relate to my much better understanding now of how seniors don't talk about being victims of these scams. They're too ashamed. They don't call the police. They don't do this. They don't do that. They don't talk to their friends. But that's why I'm talking about this.
Well, my only suggestion is that I would have spoken in a generality to warn seniors about potential problems. Don't fall for these ads about drugs, legal drugs that you could buy that's going to take away the puffy eyes and do this and do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of scams out there, Michael. You're right. Well, listen, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling, and I wish you a happy and a very healthy new year. And I promise to be on my toes and on my guard. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. 1-800-848-9222. It's another side of midnight. And let's go to Marianne in Newburgh. Good morning, Marianne. Welcome to another side. I'm TJ.
Oh, thanks, TJ. Oh, I love your show. Just want to let you know.
Thank you.
And yes, I got scammed, and that was about 2 months ago.
Oof.
I was helping out with a rescue on Facebook to raise money. It was extremely stressful, and Facebook locked me out. So
Wow.
I wound up, I couldn't get, I went through the Facebook, all the posts and things to try to find out how I could contact somebody. And then I Googled Facebook help desk, and it wound up, it wasn't a Facebook help desk. And I wound up giving all my information. This man's, I was very upset that I was locked out of Facebook and that I couldn't help the other.
Yeah. This is interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was very upset and very stressed. It had been like that for several days because it's a lot of money that we needed to raise, and this elephant was like, it's either going to go in very bad hands or it's going to go to a reputable sanctuary.
Okay.
And we had a time frame and all that. And so I was super stressed out, and I just, like you said, I don't know what happened to me. My guard fell down. I felt like my body was taken over, and I just did the absolute wrong thing and gave all my banking information to a man on the phone, acting like he was helping me with this story that didn't make sense now that I look back on it.
Right.
And he wound up scamming $2,500 from me. But luckily, I immediately told my son about it, and my son said, call the bank, call PayPal, do all this, and I was able to retrieve most of the money.
Oh, thank God. Okay, that's
and
good.
I understand your shame because I felt like such an idiot.
Yeah. No, it's again, and when I replay it in my head, I think how so close I was to making the right choice and the right decision because I was so hyper aware and I was hyper defensive and I was on guard. And yet for some stupid. And listen, when you hear me repeat words like dopey and stupid, normally I'm talking about Democrats in Connecticut that I sit in judgment of for, or dopey Democrats in California who vote for Gavin Newsom, or, like that. I am placing that exact same self-judgment on myself. It's the exact same degree of dopey that I flippantly accuse other people of. I think this is the sort, and to answer Michael's question, Marianne, the reason that I'm talking about this, I think, is somewhat selfish, because yes, I need to live out loud. Maybe I'm embarrassing myself so much. Maybe I am losing credibility with an audience in terms of, well, he's stupid. Why should we give him, our ear? Whereas I'm hoping people will take this as a couple of things. A clarion call to keep up your dukes. And when you, find yourself completely, unbelievably just put it down. You know what I should have done? I should have paused, Marianne, right? I should have paused.
I said the same thing. Actually, my son was in the house, and I just needed to go over and ask my son, do you think this is legitimate? I mean, it was a simple thing.
Right.
And the same thing. I was beating myself up for days after that.
Days. It's just, again, because it's all the things that you beat yourself up for, right? I mean, you beat yourself up for things that are completely beyond your control. I remember one time I got like I took a bad pebble on the windshield and everything, and I was beating myself up for choosing that way home. Meanwhile, it's the way I take home every single day, Marianne. Okay. And so, and here I was kicking myself in the ass for taking 684 instead of the Sawmill. Meanwhile, I take 684 every day. And yet I was like, how stupid am I to be on that highway at that time? What am I talking about?
This is what we do to ourselves.
It is. And so I think part of this is about relating to people. And I think it is about admitting, something that's been profoundly in my cranium for the last 36 hours or so. And I think just being honest. I think it's just important to be honest with everybody, Marianne, and possibly help help. Yeah.
Yes, you definitely, because it is a big scam. I think it's getting worse. Mm-hmm. And, for vulnerable people. And of course, I shouldn't consider myself. Listen, I'm 10 years older than you, TJ. I should know better.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
and I
just
should
like,
too.
what is wrong with me?
Well, one thing is for damn sure, this ain't gonna happen again. Oh God. And it's funny.
No, I feel the same way.
And sitting here in real time, Marianne, even though I'm getting this quote unquote off my chest and living out loud, I'm not feeling any better. It's not like it's mitigating anything. I still feel like a big lump of dung. It does.
You'll feel better. I mean, it took me quite a bit of days to feel better, but I did finally start to feel better.
Good.
So you will.
All right.
And quickly, I want to just mention, I don't know, I'm not pushing LifeLock or anything, but I have a little equity in my home, and I got so paranoid. I've been threatening to myself that I'm going to get LifeLock, and I finally did it at that point. So I got LifeLock, and I feel a lot better about that.
Oh, good for you. That's excellent.
It's not bad. It's like $271 a year, and at least you get credit alerts and things like that. So I feel a little better about that. My son doesn't agree with me. He thinks I'm being scammed about
overkill.
That.
Yeah.
Yes, overkill. Thank you. Thank you.
No, I mean, look, again, I'm probably going to go down that path, in the next, few hours after the program today. I might do a few, put up a few firewalls here and there, but, or maybe not. I think this was very contained to the money I sent. I don't think it's,
it might have been. Yes. I agree with you. Yeah.
I didn't exactly provide any information that would lead to any
thank goodness.
Infiltration.
I did just the opposite. So, don't feel funny. If anything, you shouldn't, barely got, you got scammed, and it is upsetting, but it's like you didn't, like you said, you didn't give a lot of information.
No. Oy vey. Anyway, all right, Marianne, thank you for relating. Thank you for listening.
Love your show.
I'm grateful
Love you, TJ.
You are great. Love you right back, and
Your
I'm
pleasure.
grateful you're there.
Thank you.
Okay, Mama. Talk to you later. 1-800-848-9222. And Happy New Year, Marianne. 1-800-848-9222. Let's take our last break of the hour real quick. We'll jump off. And when we come back, we'll talk to you. 1-800-848-9222. This is Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ, the dopey TJ on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We'll be right back.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack. 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning. This is Another Side of Midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks, broadcasting live from Liverpool in the UK, where, as it is every morning, in the winter, it is dark until whenever. It's 7:52 here in Liverpool, England, Liverpool, United Kingdom, and, 7:52, and not a trace of sun on the horizon yet. Dark. Absolutely midnight dark here. Crazy. And, the weather, I dodged that bullet. I didn't somehow make it snow a foot here I don't have that power of stupidity. Wasn't able to make that happen. I don't even know what that means. I don't know. I'm literally still swimming in a pool of you gotta be kidding me. Hey, my blood type is what the hell was I thinking? And I cleaned that up. 1-800-848-9222. This is TJ McCormack. This is Another Side of Midnight on Red Apple Audio Networks. And, we are talking about the fact that I stupidly, absolutely insanely, in a moment of complete and total unrecognizable poor judgment. I mean, gun to my head, I could not, in a trillion years of meditation, regression therapy, hypnotherapy, or just good old plain introspection, I could not tell you what possessed me to make the final step and send money to somebody in the fashion that I did. Don't know. And so in the spirit of honesty, in the spirit of sobriety, in the spirit of it can happen to you, in the spirit of we're all in this together, if in the spirit of whatever, in the spirit of just coming clean and dropping a dime on oneself, in the spirit of hoping that I stop somebody else. That's why I'm talking about it, because Michael asked a very damn good question. Why? Why in the hell would I? And maybe later today I'll wake up in the midday after doing this program so early. Maybe I'll wake up and go, maybe I'll regret this first hour in talking about this. I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'll be, in the end, I'll know that I had sort of laid something on the line, and hopefully kept open somebody's eyes. Somebody within the sound of my voice might find themselves on the precipice of pushing a button or tapping on a link or a screen or a thing or consummating a deal, even if it's about buying a damn car. Even if we're talking about signing on the dotted line for a completely legitimate purchase, that yet something is just nibbling away at your conscience to do it or not do it. Maybe this conversation about the overarching subject of judgment, maybe this conversation and me acknowledging my dopey broken stupidity, maybe this is a metaphor for not cheating on your spouse, picking up a drink to end sobriety, getting behind, turning the ignition when you know you're buzzed, when you know you shouldn't be driving. Maybe this will be a metaphor for one of those. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Chris in the Catskills. Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi there.
So you had brought up yesterday about the frog in your throat,
yes,
and you were trying to figure out, you thought maybe you had some kind of virus bug. And I think, unfortunately, with Western medicine, the causational factor of why we're sick, symptoms we're having, is not examined properly. And there's a lack of linkage between different areas of medicine trying to figure out the answers to causational factor. And there's a lack of Western-based medical schools teaching healthcare practitioners to have intellectual curiosity and heuristics, the ability for healthcare practitioners to teach themselves after they're finished with their medical school training.
So what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on what was ailing me?
I think you probably breathed in a lot of dry air in the long flight across the Atlantic, and that you're being exposed to molds and fungi that aren't indigenous to northern Westchester County and the New York City area, and your immune system is acclimating to those changes in your environment.
That is fascinating. And I'm not overselling that. I'm genuinely fascinated by that.
You should have a suggestion. You should have Dr. Peter Mikolos on once a month.
Yes.
He is so good on the air. I I brought up to Frank Morano on Ask Frank Anything Thursdays is why Chad Lopez hadn't given.
Oh, well, I mean, that's certainly above my pay grade. That's certainly above. That is way above my pay grade, Chris, for sure. But it's definitely a cool idea because Dr. Miklos is absolutely the resident physician for 77 WABC in New York. So that's definitely that's a great idea. All right, gang, gotta go. We'll be right back. Next hour, we'll talk to everybody on hold.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, gang. Hello there. Good morning, family. This is Another Side of Midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks. I'm TJ McCormack, and it is Sunday morning. It's the Lord's Day. Let us rejoice and be glad. It's Sunday morning, the 28th of December, and it's 7 minutes past the hour. I'm broadcasting to you live from Liverpool in the United Kingdom, here not too far from the River Mersey, and the sun now finally, the sky is now a light gray, and there's now you can, when we were in the break, the birds are chirping out there. It's officially daybreak here in the United Kingdom, and still a good bunch of hours away from daybreak in in the U.S., namely the snowy Northeast, and then eventually all of our friends out on the West Coast will get their sunshine later. So, in the meantime, we're sitting here doing late night, early morning talk radio, and so far so good. We're definitely in that space. I really feel that we're populating and filling out that early morning space. This is not typical midday fodder. And Pat chimed in towards the end of the last hour and said, and asked, look, can you just sort of recap what it is we're talking about here? What exactly was this scam that I fell for? I did not, and just again, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for being there. And, already people have said, why, Michael from the East Side said, why would you admit this over the air? Why would you talk about this? For anyone who is just now joining the program, or anyone who joined the program halfway through the last hour, I had sort of generally recapped what I experienced a couple of days ago, but I'll just give a much more brief version of what happened. I basically lost my mind for about 5 minutes, and that's all it takes. I'm not even saying that I let my guard down. My guard was up, but I made a counterintuitive, an antithetical, to who I am decision to send money to someone for tickets to a soccer game, basically. Put it simply, I stupidly decided to forego all of my misgivings and all of my suspicions to send money to someone for tickets that never were going to come. And it just went against every bit of intelligence and smarts and savvy that I have. And I decided literally in real time, as we opened the first hour of the program, I decided to open with it and talk about it because, for a number of reasons. A, it's the truth. And at the risk of looking stupid to many of you, or I'm sorry, I don't look stupid, at the risk of telling you that I am very capable of being very stupid, while at the same time saying, please listen to my radio program as I talk to you. At the risk of imperiling that version of my credibility, I'm hoping to gain or maintain my credibility with you in the sense that I'm being honest. And also because there's a bit of a metaphor here in terms of judgment, in terms of that last nano moment, that nanosecond, that molecular instance, that granular moment where you can stop and pause, which is all I needed to do. And I had already paused. I just needed to pause more before I ultimately did what I did. And had I done that, had I simply put down my mobile phone and walked away from it for a few minutes and not just kept going because I wanted to just get it over with and get my tickets for this stupid soccer match here in the UK. If I had just walked away, I wouldn't have. And what I did was, again, just for the edification of everyone and catch everybody up, what I did was I sent the money via PayPal, not through a bank transfer and not with any account information or anything like that, but I sent it through PayPal to a person and never got, of course, clearly never got the tickets. And it was stupid. Many, many other ways to get the tickets. I didn't go there. I don't know why. When I say I don't know why, I am literally at a loss. I am absolutely clueless as to why I was so clueless. And, yeah, so, and the other rationale for talking about it is also that I'm relating. I'm relating on so many levels, as was evidenced by so many of the phone calls in the first hour about this. people were calling in, sharing their experiences of similar and worse scenarios. And I talk about sobriety, and Kate from Boston called up. She had this experience earlier in the year, and by her own admission, it cost her. And she knows as well as I do, unnecessarily cost her sobriety, her long-term sobriety. She's back on the wagon. And back to one day at a time, as opposed to counting the years. She's counting the hours and the days of sobriety. And it's a self-inflicted wound. It's a moment of stupidity and that we're embarrassed about. And it's the embarrassment and the shame that I felt and still feel. I am not done with this. I have not come out the other side of this. Not yet. This helps. But it was the shame that I related to. And I realized as I was out walking and trying to get some exercise yesterday to try to exorcise this shame, and that was manifesting itself in physical agony at times. It was in that walk that it suddenly occurred to me, this is the shame that you read about when you hear, particularly seniors who get scammed out of life savings by phone pirates and scammers out there, who I've never quite sat in judgment of, but I certainly will absolutely never. But you hear the shame. You hear that, they target seniors, and meanwhile, they could just find a middle-aged dope like myself. But they target seniors, and so that's a particular population. That's a particular niche group that they talk about with this, and that they study and report on. And time and time again, you hear that seniors who get scammed and tend to not talk about it out of shame. And I realized yesterday that was the predominant feeling that I felt. It wasn't fear, it wasn't anger, except for anger completely at myself. And that anger was generated by shame and guilt and embarrassment. That's what it was all day, yesterday and the day before. There was a good amount of fear, certain amount of anger, but massive, suffocating guilt and shame and embarrassment. And, who do you talk to? Who do you tell? There's no cops for this. And at the very last moment this morning, I said, I'll tell the audience. Maybe we'll relate, maybe we'll help somebody, and maybe this judgment theme, this theme on judgment and intelligence, maybe this conversation acts as a metaphor for other moments of potential lapses of judgment, or potential letting down of one's guard, or potential for throwing caution to the wind, or potential indulgence that might in fact be avoided. I think this metaphor of a moment, a very brief momentary lapse, I mean literally like the skipping of a record. My judgment, my life hit a scratch, and I went whoop, and I went the wrong way. I just made a right when I knew I should have been making a left. I saw the street coming. I knew the street sign. I've been there before. I have literally been there before. I have literally avoided at the last moment being scammed. I have literally seen the exact same handwriting. I've seen the street sign, gang. I've seen the street sign. And I know I'm supposed to make that, but I went the wrong way. I've been on Judgment Street, and I've always, in this regard, made the proper turn. And I just went bat stuff about 36 hours ago and went the wrong way down a one-way street. Good judgment is a one-way street. And I found myself turned around. And the headlights coming at me did not change the course of my direction. So there we go. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. We got more than a couple of people on the line, Pamela being one of them. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk to all y'all and you. Chime in by all means. And then eventually, yes, we will certainly get into a little bit of New Year's programming, conversation rather. We'll talk about the new year coming up. We'll talk about some resolutions and whatever, the typical New Year fodder. But in the meantime, we've got this to flesh out and just wrap up. And we will do that when we come back here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Be right back.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
I mean, that's where all this is leading, right? This is all about, the stupidity of learning and this space and this time continuum. And I can't go that deep because I'm not that deep. But, and honestly, the only thing that has allowed me to get past this, stuff to close my eyes and get any rest, was by just asking God, please take this. Please take this, which is another metaphor, and it's another great little small example of exactly of how prayer, whether or not you believe that phone connection, that line goes all the way to whatever heaven is supposed to be, or whom or whatever God is supposed to be. Whatever you believe, don't believe, it's that great. For me, I believe. You hear that in my voice? I do. Bill is still there. I can't see him, but I feel his presence. I feel Bill Lee's presence. My thanks to Bill and Yuri. Yuri doing a spectacular job screening these calls. These are very, very nuanced calls that you guys are making with some interesting perspectives on what we're talking about, and to be fleshing it out as he is really great stuff. And Bill, to be reading my vital signs and knowing which way my heart is beating at any given moment shows a true connection. And I am so massively grateful to Bill Lee for producing this show and hanging with me. And I'm grateful for all of y'all listening. And one of the people who has been a constant voice on this show, a great presence, Pamela in New Jersey. Good morning, Pamela. Welcome back.
Oh, good morning. I set my alarm for your show, and you do one of those things, you turn it off, you don't even realize it, and then you doze off, and I could tell in your voice you were very serious, and I said, something must have happened. And then I'm hearing this story, but I didn't know what happened for a while, and then, but I'm telling you, don't feel bad, because we've got some real experts between the internet and the border, coming over the border.
Yeah.
Scam artists. They are professionals. And we, being good people with good intentions, are just open prey to them.
Yeah.
And were you looking for tickets on the internet, or did they approach you?
Oh, no. I was looking at it, and again, and here's the thing, and this is one of the mitigating things where at first yes, this was, or at least it was, I've got to go back and look at their handle on this social media site that I used. They might be off by like one digit or one letter. This was somebody that either I had done a successful purchase with about 2 or 3 years ago, or at least it was somebody I thought was this person that I had done legitimate, solid, completely safe, straightforward ticket purchase with about 2 years ago here in Liverpool.
They were imitating somebody else.
I think it was I think they were cloned. They cloned somebody. Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
And they used a PayPal, which is possible. Anybody can be scammed.
Sure.
Okay, a scary story.
Yeah.
In my part of New Jersey, central New Jersey, since I was a little girl,
yeah,
my father warned me about these people called travelers that would come through town. And they would offer to work on your roof or your driveway.
Yep.
But it was real shoddy, fake stuff. But they were really looking for alcohol, booze, or money straight from your pocket, or to rip your yard off, okay?
Right.
And I grew up knowing this. Okay. One day, I'm doing yard work, and I have my favorite hedge clippers that were my dad's. And, today is you have all your power pack tools, but this had a cord, which is rare today if you're a gardener and everything.
Totally, yeah, I know those.
And they're my favorite, okay? So the scary thing is, a lot of times they watch for their targets. Just like they watch on the internet, they are watching in your neighborhoods.
Yep.
Now, Law and Order, you can look it up. They did a whole hour program on these people. They're called travelers.
Sure.
And they come out of North Carolina, and I'm not being prejudiced. I'm part Irish. They tend to be an Irish group. And
they're Irish travelers. They're known as Irish travelers. They're gypsies.
You've heard of them. Okay,
yes,
good.
Yes.
Okay, so I had a very busy day, and I had to run an errand, and I still don't know. I might have put the hedge clippers in the shade to cool down before I put them away. And I came home, and I backed into my driveway, and there was a guy out of nowhere. Good-looking guy. He looked like one of the Wahlbergs.
Sure.
With an Irish accent.
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden, my intuition kicked in, and he, right away, I was backing out of my car, and he could have clubbed me in the head and robbed me blind at that point.
Yep.
But, you can be as careful as possible, but there it goes. So I got out of my car and I screamed, "You get out of here. You move. You get out of here right now. Get out of here." And he was kind of like taken aback that I knew what he was up to, but yet he was brazen. And he just stood his ground and he said, "Oh, I noticed you have some shingles missing. Can we repair them?" And meanwhile, I'm looking out in my peripheral vision and there's a brown pickup truck.
I was going to say, where was the pickup truck?
Yard. Right at the end of my yard in front of my house. And I'm thinking, I did see that pickup truck when I came down the road, the intersection road. And so he was just waiting for prey to anyone to pull into their driveway to do this to. So I didn't want to go to my front door. So I ran down the street where everybody could see me.
Yeah.
And then I went around the block, because it was during the day when people are at work, nobody around. And I'm trying to be like out in the open. And I just, out of curiosity, I kind of went along with him just to say, "Oh, I'm missing shingles." And you know what? You couldn't even see the part of the roof from the other road,
Right.
And the scary thing is, all of a sudden the pickup arrived again. So I said, "You know what? I don't really need that kind of work right now, but thank you anyway." And I said, "Oh, by the way, I don't see any shingles missing." And then they looked at me, but they're still brazen. So they went away, and I got, thank God I didn't get mugged or, whatever.
Right.
And normally I would get their plate, but I was so afraid for my life that I didn't get my plate, and I kicked myself for that. So I called the cop. And this older cop that arrived, he knew what I was talking about, but the younger cop didn't have a clue. He did not, because he wasn't aware of these people.
Sure.
And so later, and I'm talking a couple weeks later, I wanted my hedge clippers again, and I'm thinking, where the heck are my hedge clippers? And it wasn't until then I realized, oh crap, they stole my hedge clippers. They stole my hedge clippers, and they were my favorite. They were my dad's, and they worked really well. And things aren't made as well today.
You know what? That's why we created the word "sucks." That just sucks. That's just so.
And you know what? To this day, I kick myself.
Yeah.
But you know what? Anybody, I tell my husband this all the time. "Oh, well, I'm careful and this and that." I said, "No, you don't understand. These people are experts."
Yeah.
And the ones we get on the internet and the ones we get now through the border,
right?
They have lived their whole life. In fact, this cop, he was a really nice cop, and he was Sicilian, and his father lived in Sicily. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said the gypsies from that part of the world would come to Sicily on his farm when he was a little boy, and they would wear long skirts. The women would wear long skirts. And as they're talking, the men are talking to you, the women are stealing your chickens in the cages and sticking them up their skirts.
Whoa.
So he totally knew what I was talking about, and I didn't have to explain it. But the young cops didn't have a clue.
Amazing.
So, I tell my husband, you can be robbed at any time, any way.
Yep.
And you won't know what hit you. Many times you won't even know what hit you.
Yeah, no. And you know what, too? And again, you've been now a friend for a long time listener since I came aboard WABC in New York. And, this will also mitigate on a personal level. This will also mitigate my judgment of people. Not that I've always felt terrible when people have found themselves, victimized. And you don't often sit in judgment, but you're not going to hear me talk about somebody being stupid or dumb or meek or, whatever when it comes to this sort of thing. Because as you said, they are professionals. They are soulless. They are cold. And I'm going to really venture into insanity here. But there are going to be some people that say, and they're just trying to feed their family. But don't peddle that.
Right.
But, they are. This is what they do. This is what they do. And there's psychology involved. And it's, you talk about the travelers, the gypsies. It's a confidence game. It's so much of the story, and in this case, this was just me going along like an idiot. But again, too, something I mentioned early in the last hour, Pamela, was that the wild thing here is that I wasn't totally blind and scammed up until the very, very nano moment that I pushed send, that I tapped on that thing on the app. That my guard was up, and I thought, no, I shouldn't, I shouldn't, this could be bad, this is not a thing. And for some reason, Pamela, I abandoned my thinking and my wisdom and everything about my 57 years of life on this earth. And I went in the wrong direction, and I did it. And that is the conundrum for me. That is the weird moment where I knew better.
Yeah, but don't chastise yourself, but listen to your intuition. Another thing happened. Since Biden with the border, the crime around my neighborhood has gone through the roof. So the other day, after a snowfall, I went out to clean my car. I walked down my sidewalk, and all of a sudden, there's a car in front of me, a certain type of car, because I don't want to, if they're listening, which they do listen to stuff. I'm not going to say the type of car.
Gotcha.
But these people pulled up in front of me, and we have home invasions going on right now, bad ones, where you're home on a Saturday morning, still sleeping, and they bust in your home. This is what's going on in towns in central New Jersey. Okay. So I walk down my sidewalk, and all of a sudden this carload of young people are in my face. And the young person in the back has a smartphone filming me and filming my neighbor across the street. And at first I'm thinking, all right, maybe they're lost, maybe they're delivering Grubhub or something or whatever. And then my intuition kicked in. And I connected the home invasions to them. And they weren't filming me. They were filming the front of my house and my neighbor's front of the house, probably checking for cameras. I put all of this together, especially since I'm still upset over being robbed over the summer. Okay, so I called the cops, and they were interested. They questioned me, and they knew, having been a teacher also in a high school, I have a little bit more hypervigilance.
You have an intuition.
Than the rest of my
You definitely have a hyper.
And my neighbors are thankful for it. In fact, my neighbor today asked me for the license plate of that car because he saw it again on the block. And so we're working together. And the cop was saying, "No, that's good that you did this." And I think they're connected. Some of the cars on our block are connected to the home invasion.
And they're coordinated, and they're persistent. And Pamela, I got to jump. They're coordinated. They're persistent. They're smart. They're savvy. They're cold. They're calculating. They're conniving. They're mean spirited. One thing I could not ever relate to is taking something that's not mine. I just can't take something. I don't know. How do you take somebody and then on the grander scale of stealing right on up to taking someone's life? I mean, I can't take a Tic Tac, unless it's offered. I hope he's still there. Is Robert still in North Carolina? Is he still there on the line? Robert, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for waiting. Good morning. Welcome to Another Side.
I'm sorry to hear what happened to you. Please, anyone who can hear my voice, stop using social media. It's a den of thieves now. This is what the world has become.
Yeah.
My friend posted for me. She did me a favor because I don't use social media.
Okay.
Free stuff. All right. I can't take everything I was with me when I was moving. Okay. So I just gave it away.
Sure.
Because I don't have the time or could be bothered, trying to sell it.
Gotcha.
So I put it to the curb. She took a couple of pictures, and she made the mistake of putting my phone number on her Facebook page.
Uh-oh.
For like a month afterward, I got hundreds of phone calls from scammers. The free stuff at the curb went within 2 hours.
Sure, gone. That was a non-issue, right?
Yeah. People came and grabbed it.
So that was efficient. No, you're right, man. You're right. We do. I must say, this is going to be part of an inventory that I need to take. Internal, external, pragmatic. I need to take a bit of an inventory here. And social media, while a necessary avenue for me with this program and with, having a presence in the media, it's necessary, but and it's easy to maintain a professional one, but leave a personal one out of it. I need to definitely stop crossing those streams. That's for sure.
Just use X. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Delete everything else off of all your social media accounts and then close them. Yeah. And ignore them when they want you to come back.
Yeah. Oy vey. Robert, thank you, buddy. Thank you for that, and thank you for that true story. It's weird. It's weird what happens out there. Let's go to now Bob in Westchester. Bob, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Hey, look, you're actually doing a really big service to people, so don't be feeling bad about saying what happened to you.
Thank you.
I'll tell you two reasons why. First of all, I'll reiterate, Pam, you're not going to outsmart a scammer. They are professionals, and every second you remain on the phone with them is an opportunity for them to continue to scam. And they know it. They read you like a book. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And the second thing, which is also important, is that even if the banks or PayPal or whoever knows who they are, they will not prosecute. They won't prosecute. They don't think it's worth their time, and also they don't want their customers to know how vulnerable they really are.
They don't need the bad They don't need the bad publicity.
Oh yeah, I got a guy called me one time because I'm a music teacher, and I want you to teach my daughter. I'll send you a certified check for whatever, $1,000 or something, and you give me $200 back, and so you'll have $800 for the summer to teach my daughter. Whoa. And so I knew what it was all about. So I figured I would outsmart him, and I went to the bank with the check. I went right to that bank with the certified check, and I said, "Ma'am, I know this is a bad check, and I'm willing to actually meet this guy so that you can be there to arrest him." They weren't interested at all.
Wow.
They weren't interested. I was actually willing. I had nothing to gain, except being a good neighbor.
Sure.
And they weren't even interested at all because they don't want people to know. They don't want to waste the time, and they don't want people to know how vulnerable they are. They don't want that publicity.
Wow.
So you don't stand a chance. If you stay on the phone 2 seconds, then you're 2 seconds in the hole. If you stay on 3 seconds with these people, then you're 3 seconds in the hole. Every second is another chance to hit you from another side. They're that experienced and they're that smart. Mm-hmm. It's like a pickpocket watching a crowd, and they see one person where they see he puts his wallet. That's where they're going to go for it. He doesn't stand a chance.
Bob, thank you, buddy, and stay warm and cozy in the new year in Westchester.
You're doing a great service. Don't think you're admitting stupidity. You're doing a great service to people to warn them because we don't take them seriously enough.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you for that. That does make me feel better. I do appreciate it. Thank you. There's Another Side of Midnight. Me, TJ, here on the Red Apple Audio Networks, laying it all out there for you people. This is one of I say this often. If you're feeling bad about yourself, if you're feeling a bit S-wordy, if you're feeling kind of low, if you're feeling, just based on the last 36 hours, be thankful you're not me. There you go. How's that? If that makes you feel any better, if you're feeling lousy about yourself, if you're feeling a little dumb, if you locked your keys in the car, hey, you're not me. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Kenny in Bridgeport. Kenny in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Good morning.
Okay, TJ, I got Scotland Yard on the line here.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Holmes, not the Holmes from the famous one from the you-know-what, right. Sherlock and Dr. Watt. Hey, listen, you're not supposed to give out your information to places that are not familiar to you or anything. If anybody's calling you, I mean, I don't do it, but people fall for the scams.
Yep.
People calling them up and everything, but you don't have to give them any information. Actually, my opinion is you should give them misinformation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'll tell you what one of the problems are. Not everybody no more, but most people at one time in America, it was called a high trust society. You were trusting of people, not that you were going to fall for your sign over the deed to your house or not, but you never know. When you get home to Westchester, you might have about 20 illegal aliens living in there and they own the house now. But from being scammed by people who come from a low trust society, they know they don't trust anybody because their scam is they deal with scammers themselves because their whole society is based on
a profession in their society. It's a profession.
Right. And a low trust. So that's
interesting.
That's one of the biggest problems we have here, besides people who are naive like there's no tomorrow. We know that. Yeah. But the thing is, they can only scam you if you let them. But if you start giving them information, to me that's totally crazy and insane.
It is.
But they don't. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say is the nuance in my situation is that right up, and I can't help but repeat myself, but it bears repeating. I was, in fact, going through all the filters and the buffers and the questions and the red flags and all of them. And I, like the taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, my subway car blasted past all the signals. The dead man switch did not work. I'm going to go with this taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 scenario. The dead man switch didn't work and I blew past all the red lights. And I knew better. And there is the fact. To me, it's like scientific at this point. Now it's like, what happened in the Petri dish? What happened to this guy's brain? What happened to TJ's buffer system? What in the sweet feathery Jesus possessed me to look the other way? Like I said, I've been on this street before. I have dodged this exact bullet in the past. Exact. And lived to tell the story. And this was only recently that I lived to tell the story and said, oh my God, look how close I came to being scammed, but I caught it and I saw it. And so I've been on that street and I've seen the street sign and I know what Scam Street looks like. And I blew past Good Choice Avenue and I made a bad turn onto what the hell am I thinking way. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go. Let's take our break. Let's take our break. When we come back, we got Joaquin, we got Jeffrey, we got a good number of the family on the line and ready to go. So let's take our break now. Here on Another Side of Midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We'll be right back.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
That's what we're talking about here. Talking about gypsies, tramps, and thieves, and the people who love them. And the people like TJ who somehow make their day so much easier, make their job so much easier. Anything I can do to help a poor scammer get on with their day. What a flippin' idiot I am. Anyway, working it out. Jesus, please, God, take this away. Don't keep me up another wink. Oh, goodness gracious. Good morning, gang. It's me, TJ, here on Another Side of Midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks. And we are talking about this. I didn't so much fall for a scam in the new sense of it, where it's, they proactively call and say you've got a bank account, you've got a balance, you've got a credit card to do, you've got an open fee thing, you've been overdrawn, you've been underdrawn, somebody has this. It wasn't that. I can't really admit it. I proactively went to buy tickets that never came. And again, that sounds totally stupid and innocuous, and it wasn't just a poor transaction. It was stupid. I handed over money to somebody who was absolutely not who they said they were. And it was stupid because there were 8,000 other places I could have gone. Thousands of other resources I could have utilized to get these match tickets for a soccer game here in Liverpool, where we are broadcasting from where we are broadcasting here for the final program for not only for 2025 but also the final program from Liverpool in the United Kingdom, where I am not obviously in the Bernard McGurk studios in New York City, but rather the living room studio of George and Irene Murphy, my in-laws here in lovely Merseyside, UK. All right. 1-800-848-9222. And, let's see. Let's get to, Marianne in Indiana. Marianne, good morning.
Yes, I was, scammed by phone, and they said that I needed to pay $8,000 and put it in a black shoebox, black taped, and, send it to this address.
They didn't get that far. Did you do it?
Well, I was almost tempted to because they scared me so bad, saying
what was the angle? Yeah, what was the angle they were using, Marianne?
Well, they said they were from the FBI and all this, and said something about drugs, and I never done drugs or anything. So I just went to my banker, and he just said, just don't answer the phone.
Yeah. Hey, look, you got right. I mean, look, well, thank God you didn't do it, Marianne. Thank God you didn't do it.
No, but it scared me so bad that I almost did,
Sure,
you get vulnerable that way.
And like we've said a few times, they know what they're doing. And a really interesting point, was that Kenny who said that? They come from no trust societies. They come literally from countries, from lands, from countries and cultures that where trust is not a part of the lexicon. Everything is a scam. I'm not wobbling here into any sort of sympathy at all. But far from it. But maybe I'm touching on trying to figure out, but not excuse or relate or understand, but trying to figure out.
I didn't get your whole story. What happened?
Mine is a lot less savvy than a lot, it wasn't like this guy was some mastermind. I went to buy tickets, for a football match, a soccer game, and and I gave money to somebody who was not who they said they were, and it was stupid, and I did it by electronic means, which means that, I could have potentially, made myself and my family vulnerable, and, that really bothers me, that in retrospect, I did something that was so unbelievably stupid. Marianne, I gotta jump, love. Thank you so much for being there, and I'm glad you didn't do it. I'm glad you kept that, what did you do with that $8,000? If you've got any of that $8,000 still sitting around in a shoebox, by all means, let me give you a place you can send. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to, yes. Okay. Let's talk to Joaquin. Joaquin in PA. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, TJ to the maximum. Hey, listen, that's what makes you the quintessential superhero and talk show host, because it's your brutal self-honesty. And that's a big public service, and it's very amicable.
Thank you.
And I have a prescription for you. What you need to do is you need to put on some Motley Crue Primal Scream, written by Nikki Sixx, the role models for sobriety. And it's actually a song for mental health. So, and I'm shocked that Pamela doesn't have a German Shepherd. Because believe me, people will give you a wide berth if you have one, and what's even better is if you have two of them. Okay,
a wide berth. So, that's a very cool way of putting it. Yes.
Oh, people used to walk past my house because of my German Shepherd that was in the pen next to it. But anyway, my mother-in-law got scammed out of $95,000.
Oh.
Okay, she was elderly. My father-in-law had passed away, I don't know, just a couple of years before, and unfortunately, she. It's not that she's stupid, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
Somebody called her, and they scared the hell out of her. My brother-in-law, he actually is autistic, and they called my mother-in-law, and they said they were from the FBI or the IRS, and that, if she didn't send them a certain amount of money or whatever else, that they were going to come and they were going to arrest, and drag him out, and they were going to arrest her and whatever else. And she, not to say anything to anybody, and the next thing you know, bam, she's out of $95,000, and there's nothing that can be done. And, if I was president of the United States, I would create just a special law enforcement agency to go after this crap. And then at the end of the day, when I find the people, I would send a drone to take them out. Because,
dude,
can you imagine an elderly woman, $95,000?
You are so right. And I know, Joaquin, you got to imagine the FBI, of course, has, dedicated cyber scam, but this needs to be a bit more high profile, so that we all know, and that the scammers know, like ICE, and that sort of a high profile, in your face, proactive team, not just a bunch of nerds that we hire from MIT to do this, although it's great to know those nerds are working for us. But still something a bit more high profile, that sort of badass tech. And for anybody who is curious, and Joaquin, I wonder if you've ever seen this guy or a couple of these guys on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. But on YouTube, there's a couple of guys with their YouTube channels where they sort of scam the scammers. They've got this sort of reverse technology where they're able to pretty much pinpoint on a map where, usually India or Pakistan, where they are, and they actually call them and tell them, hey, and they jump onto their computer. They're able to hijack their computer screen, and they're able to say, hey, is this your building? Actually, is this your employee badge to get into that building? And it is it's like porn. I'm telling you, dude.
Why can't an agency do this?
I know. Why can't law
enforcement agency? And they really, the problem is that you let your emotion get the best of you because you wanted those tickets. You know what I'm saying? It's that thing. It's a typical sales thing. You got to work on people's emotions to get them to want to buy. If you're going to sell something.
Admittedly.
And even retail scams. I was looking for, I wanted the badass generator, right? And I really, I live paycheck to paycheck, national security checks, and I wanted a really, good, powerful generator. I got some welding equipment. I wanted to be able to have a 220 option, and so it's going to cost me around $1,000. So I went looking around for a bargain, right? And I came across this company in Texas, and it looked perfect, pictures of the building and everything, right? And they say what they do is they sell refurbished, or they were new, and you know what I'm saying? Kind of like a scratch and dent kind of thing almost, and it was just so well done. But I've always I always go online and I check to see, is this a scam? Is this a scam? Is this a scam? Right.
Right.
And a lot of these companies, they keep operating because they do something to keep them, going.
Yes.
And so I was like, I found a generator.
Yeah.
I wanted for $350, $1,000 generator.
Right.
And I was thinking, nah, it's too good to be true. And I did some digging. Yeah. I was like, no, this is a scam. Yeah.
And it was it in the end? You didn't pull the trigger.
I did not buy it. No, I didn't fall for it. But it looked so legitimate. It was just incredible.
They know what they're doing, dude. They listen. That's one of the big takeaways from this program. We're all stipulating they're professionals.
What they'll do to you sometimes is they'll stay in business because they'll send you something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it winds up being a piece of crap, and then you can't do anything about it. Then you try and call them, to get a refund or to send it back, and it doesn't happen. Unless I'm buying something from Amazon or
right.
Anything like that, I double check everything, because my wife went to buy 100%. Something clothing, and I looked at it, I said, no, wait. I checked it out, and sure as heck, and the other thing I really would recommend.
You got to forgive me, Joaquin. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. As always, you're a resource of information. I got to jump. It is top of the hour. You know that as well as I do. I'm sorry, Pally. Happy New Year, Joaquin. We'll be back as we come down the stretch for 2025 on Another Side of Midnight with TJ here on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Stay right there.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, family. Hello there, it's me. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm feeling a little bit lighter. It's me, TJ, here on Another Side of Midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks all around the United States of America on Red Apple Audio Networks and around the world on WABCRadio.com, broadcasting not from New York City, the flagship 77 WABC, but rather remotely coming to you from Beetle territory, coming to you from Liverpool in the United Kingdom, where my wife is from. So not the 77 WABC studios, but rather the living room studio of George and Irene Murphy, my in-laws. And so looking out here, it's 9:08 in the morning, and now finally the sun is up, and daylight hours are severely impacted during the winter here in the north of England. It's wild. The slight tick in latitude, it makes all the difference, literally all the difference in the world. Gets light so much later and gets dark so much earlier. And I was actually broadcasting this program last week on, I believe it was last Sunday. It was it was a week ago. And it was the solstice. It was the winter solstice, shortest day of the year. Sun was up for like 45 minutes, it felt like. And in real time, I was broadcasting while a bunch of druids were dancing around Stonehenge down in the central part of the country. And anyway, so still a whole different sort of existence here. Anyway, 1-800-848-9 daylight wise, 1-800-848-9222. And as we continue in this, the final hour of Another Side of Midnight for 2025, at any point anybody wants to chime in with we might as well do it, right? We're doing overnight early morning talk radio, so we might as well sort of walk in the shadow or the footsteps of Art Bell, as he did on his brilliant, magnificent show for all those years. He would, on New Year's Eve, flip open the microphone and take open line calls about predictions for 2020. For predictions for the year. And he would also, go over the previous year's predictions for the year gone by. And, what would they call it? Was it a boom or a bust? Or it was something like that, where they would say didn't come true or did come true. Anyway, we can play a little bit of that game. So if anybody has any predictions, if you have any predictions for 2025, what is the Mamdani administration is it gonna be successful? Will there be an end to the Ukraine war? What's gonna happen? How long will Kash Patel last? What's next with what's gonna happen with the midterm? I'll start. Here's a little prediction for 2025. Let me see. I had a couple of these. Let's see. Or 26, excuse me. Look at that. I'm screwing up the year. Already I'm writing the wrong year on my checks. I haven't written a check probably all year. How about I believe Jasmine Crockett is going to run for U.S. Senate in Texas. She's going to win her primary in Texas, and she's going to get her living ass kicked in Texas. She's going to win the primary somehow. There'll be a flood. And her opponent is quite a capable, level-headed dude. And her Legion fans will come out and support her. Betcha she wins a primary, because extremes win primaries, not middle of the roads. Her opponent is a middle of the road. But it's the extreme lunatics who tend to win primaries. So, on the left. So, I predict that Jasmine Crockett will win her primary and then just get shellacked in the general. And I will also predict the economy starts to roar. And I will also predict that it won't have an impact on the midterms. And I say this with great trepidation and disdain for the truth that I believe will be that Republicans will lose control of the House. I think somehow by some miracle they'll maintain, I don't know what's making me say this, that they'll maintain control of the Senate, but they're going to lose control of the House. Just feels like a runaway train. That's just a prediction. That's not what I hope will happen. And it's just what I just have a feeling will happen. 1-800-848-9222 if you think you have an interesting prediction. If you have a good gut feeling about something that's going to happen in 2026. 1-800-848-9222. Let's get back over to the phones because we're covering some interesting subjects here, and some people have some very cool perspectives on some of these things. Let's go over to Rob in White Plains. Rob, good morning. Welcome to Another Side with TJ. Hi.
Oh, geez. Hi, TJ. I was on last hour's topic. You want to skip me?
No, that's fine. No. I'm just introducing.
Okay?
And by all means, that anything we're talking about is good the whole show.
All right. Beautiful. Oh, by the way, when are you getting back?
I will return soon, later in the week. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody watching your house?
Yes, with a hawk eye, as a matter of fact.
God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you. Okay, yeah. All right, listen, if I get too personal, you let me know. I spoke to Susan Sculte. Susan gave, to Chris Sculte, she gave me your number. I'll call you next week, but I've got a story to tell you. A friend of mine I know from White Plains, I went to Stepanak, by the way.
Oh, great.
A friend I know from White Plains is vice president of a bank. I told him I had to move some things from one room in my warehouse to another and part of the stuff to my home. I said, you know anybody? Because the moving costs like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. He said, yeah, I have a neighbor with a truck. And I said, okay, who is he? He said, well, I don't know much about him. So it turned out he introduced me to the person. The person came to me and stole half of my warehouse. Okay? He took the warehouse to his place in Ossining. And it's a C felony called conversion. By the way, these things they call scams. There is no legal term meaning scam. It's what it is. It's a crime of opportunity. These people look for opportunities, then they commit the crime.
Yes.
And what happened here? It turned out that this guy with a truck had murdered someone on Long Island. Was recently out of jail, out of Sing Sing.
Good Lord.
And he became president of an outfit called Hudson Link. And they're a lobby group for prisoners. I didn't know.
I have heard of it. I've heard of it. I believe.
Okay. The guy's name is Sean Pica. He says he's president, but the website doesn't say anything about that being president. I named someone else. So anyway, they come with a big truck. They took my stuff, and instead of taking it to my home, they took it to Ossining in a gated area. I was supposed to bring it to my house. I went to wait for it. I waited till 1:00 in the morning. Never called the next day. I called them. Oh, we decided to bring your stuff to Ossining. Now, I went to law school. I know what conversion is. I cursed the guy out. He said, if you want to see your property, you come up here and see it, which I did five times. And he said, okay, you can sort out what you don't want, and we'll return the rest of the stuff to it. By the way, the gated community turned out to be a driveway where they had thrown my belongings.
Unbelievable.
And they were picking through them.
Wow.
And it was a pack of former prisoners is what it was. Yeah, and so let me tell you what happened. So I go to the police chief in Ossining, New York, and he tells me that he's not going to arrest Sean Pica.
No, okay. Let's stop using the first and last name.
All right.
So he's not going to arrest this guy.
He wouldn't give me a complaint to sign. Refused to give me a complaint. All right. So
that's the most basic thing is a complaint. A complaint is like...
You got it.
Right? I mean, anybody can file a complaint. It's up to the police to act on it. He wouldn't even let you file a complaint?
Democratic politics, it's corruption.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's corruption. So I go to the Department of Corrections who run the parole program in New York State. They refuse to act. I'm not going to use names.
Okay.
So I go to, well, I can use this name. I go to Susan Kikase's office.
Yes, the DA. Uh-huh.
Yeah, the DA, and it's assigned to a chief assistant DA, who ends up telling me that he knows nothing about criminal law. Believe it or not, knows nothing. And he's a friend of Susan Kikase's from 1995, and they worked together as their first job out of college. He went to Albany Law, and she went to Pace Law in White Plains. And I ended up getting a letter 4 months later saying that there was insufficiency. I gave them everything I had, step by step. I named people.
Yeah.
So I called John Sarcone, upstate. Yeah, he lives in Austin, but he lives in, well, you know where he lives. Yeah, Croton. So I called John Sarcone. He says, the thing you have to do is go to the federal system.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe that? We have an elected district attorney. We have a nonprofit who's stealing. Okay? Yeah. These people have no soul. Just because they got out of jail doesn't mean they're any good. We got a parole board that would let Willie Sutton out.
Well,
and
they do.
Killers are the first ones they let out, TJ. They're the first ones.
I know, buddy. I know.
And spite in our face is what's happening. Okay.
Rob. Rob, I'm sorry. I got to move on. But Rob, to your point, and I'm grateful for the call. To your point, Rob, what this is symptomatic of is, and it sounds like a repeated broken record, but it is definitely a viable, true fact. What we're talking about here, and you just went through a litany of elected Democrats and their policies. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of other elected Democrats that are also involved in all of this and part of a large, massive Democrat supermajority in Albany, in Westchester County, certainly, and in a lot of the counties and towns surrounding the metropolitan area and Albany. And the problem is that those supermajorities mean that nobody is looking over anybody's shoulder. There's no accountability from within their own party, let alone any ability to vote them out, because the math is so upside down in New York State, especially in Westchester and lower Hudson Valley. And the towns and the counties and both houses of the New York State legislature, the Assembly and the Senate, as well as obviously the governor's office, are all single-minded Democrats who are intimidated by leftists. So many of these Democrats are too stupid to know just what they're doing. Kind of like I was stupid a couple of days ago and I hit send. But these dopes and the dopes that vote for them create a culture and a climate of a complete lack of accountability, so that when nonprofits that look after ex-convicts and try to give them an outlet, and it flies in the face of all sorts of decency and common sense, and with total lack of supervision and oversight, and going right back to the point of releasing them, as you said, in the first place. The parole boards in New York State perform egregiously and regularly release dozens of hardened criminals, felons who had committed violent crimes, murder, rape. And it's legislators that you never hear of, like the Westchester County Board of Legislators, who continue to deny that Westchester is a sanctuary county. And New York State Assembly members like Mary Jane Shimsky and Amy Paulin, who do everything they can to coddle hardcore convicted felons who want to give them early release just based on the fact that they might turn 55 in prison regardless of the crime they committed. There's a bill that does exactly that on the governor's desk right now. Anyway, 1-800-848-9222. Thank you there, Rob. Appreciate it. We'll get back to you guys and you. Not just the folks online, but you. If you would like to call in, 1-800-848-9222. Talking about scam artists, talking about personal experiences with scams. And told you my personal story from a couple of days ago. Stupid moment. And I was dopey TJ for a brief moment, and it was just long enough for me to do something stupid. And I should have just paused. But anyway, we're also talking about, as we close out the hour and therefore close out the year for Another Side of Midnight, if you have any predictions, any thoughts about the year coming? What do you think's going to happen in politics? What do you think's going to happen in New York City? What do you think's going to happen in Washington? What do you think's going to happen, I don't know, in the Super Bowl? What's going to happen in 2026? 1-800-848-9222. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
The absolute finger on the pulse, dude. Oh my goodness gracious. Bill Lee is just, finger on the pulse. Yeah, no. 28 minutes past the hour as we come down the stretch, for 2025, here on Another Side of Midnight, and, coming to you live from Liverpool in the United Kingdom as I visit, beloved family, here on Merseyside, as they call it, by the River Mersey, here in the northwest of England, and, last show of, 2025 here on Another Side of Midnight, and, talking about a few things, including scams and scammers, and, the aftermath, for those who find themselves having been duped. And Greg has a very interesting perspective on this. Greg from New Jersey. Good morning, Greg. I like where you're going here. Good. Welcome to the program.
Well, welcome. Good morning. Happy Merry Christmas. Hope you have a Happy New Year.
I thank you, and I wish you the same, you and yours.
Are you Irish? Or Scottish? Or
I am Scotch-Irish, like almost 1,000 billion%. I did a 23andMe. I don't think there's a wobble anywhere in there.
Okay, well, I found on my being, on my general nature, because I am the same, life exists on a sine wave, you know? You got good times, you got bad times. You got evil people, you got good times. Basically, if we get through life at a zero plane, we got a pretty much a free pass into the nether world, our greatest beyond. So all the bad times that you're existing right now, it's great that you're talking to the people about that in order to, incite them, in order to make them think positively about not being scammed.
Right.
You will never recognize the really good times that you're having up until, you get old and you remember the good times. You don't really remember, aside from really bad times.
Right.
But the bad times equal out with the good times. So there's the bad stuff that you're having right now. You will have great stuff later on, but you won't recognize it.
Wow. Boom. So, thank you for that. Yeah, that's a very cool perspective.
So you're really firing people up, going, everybody's getting all their animosity and everything and the hatred and the whole business out. Yeah, I've been bummed. I've been burnt. I'm Irish, man. If I won the lottery this weekend for $1.6 billion, I'd wind up in jail because somebody would figure out some way in order to ruin my good day in order to turn it into a bad day.
Boy, us Irish, boy. That's why they say Ireland is the land of happy wars and sad love songs. And the Irish, the Italians hold a vendetta. The Irish hold a grudge. And yeah, you're right, man. We just do not want to let go of that luggage. We want to carry it. I'm with you.
I mean, people just don't realize the good times that they have because they've gotten through their bad times.
Yeah.
Enjoy the good times. I mean, that's my best situation going into the new year. Remember every good time you've ever had and forget about the bad times because you got burnt. I've been burnt. Crap. I'm Irish, man. I have bad luck, man. My good luck is not having any bad luck.
There you go.
So you know what?
Dude. Yeah.
I don't play on the negative. I play on the positive. And you know what? I think everybody ought to think that way. But you know what? Be smart enough in order to not get stuck on the next scam that comes along.
Exactly.
Because everybody knows they're out there. Yep. And just be aware.
You got to be hyper vigilant, and you got to thank you, Greg. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's what it is. Again, what happened in my case, and it might prove to be what is just ultimately going to nag at me, is the idea that I had forgive me for repeating once again, but just for the context and just to be clear, I wasn't just led by the nose. I wasn't blind. And this is, I think, while that would have been dumb, this is what makes me, for that moment, even dumber, is that I don't even know if it's dumb, if it was just a complete flash of what the hell did I do? And because I knew there was something amiss. And maybe there's a thing where your brain does the opposite than you should do. And I think also because so much of my life, in terms of sobriety, in terms of other things, and then your life as well, I'm sure, so much of my life is predicated upon choices. Because my new life, kind of to Greg's point, my new life, this 20 and a half years of sobriety that has delivered me a continued marriage, thank God, and 2 spectacular young adult daughters. The old life was directed by and doomed by awful decisions, bad choices that led to other bad choices. One bad choice begat another. It was biblical. Begat another bad choice in a bad situation, and got to the point where it was defying death. Should have resulted in death, should have resulted in jail, should have resulted in being institutionalized. Ended up resulting in promises kept by God and a new life. Thank God. Thank you, God. And thank my wife for saving my life and kicking me out of the house and starting that ball rolling. And my new life is supposed to be predicated upon having learned from those bad choices. And I think that's part of what makes this such a shuddering thing. Kind of like stepping off the curb and truck just breezes your nose. The wing mirror of a truck just, you feel it. It makes your nose hairs bend. And you're like, holy F. That could have been my head. Oh my God. Right? One of those close calls. a couple of weeks ago, driving down 684 in Westchester, wrong way driver. My heart was racing so much that I really thought I needed to pull over, possibly because my heart was racing so much. I was concerned that it was irreversible. Forgot about that. Never did talk about that on the air. But anyway, it's those kinds of moments that can be the difference between not only life and death, but months of agony, financially, socially, spiritually, physically. And so it's those sorts of close calls. Step off the curb. Here comes the bus. And oh my God, that was so close. And in my case, it was too close for it. It happened. And then you have to do sort of a bit of an inventory and take a look and see, okay. What was it that caused me to black out, to blank, and do the absolute opposite of what I knew I should do? What in the Jesus possessed me to do that? And, inventory is a big word in sobriety. Inventory is a very big word in sobriety. And by the way, while we're speaking of sobriety, just real quick, if Sal in Staten Island happens to be out there, hope you're doing all right, Sal. And I just hope you know that on Twitter, and hello and God bless and I love you to all the family who are over there on X, Marianne and Catherine and the entire crew and Patty. Lots of prayers were up for you after you called in yesterday morning, Sal, and have continued to come in on X, Twitter. So, Sal, we're hoping that you found yourself a meeting. We hope you found yourself a day of sobriety, perhaps. You can always call in. We've got a half hour left in the program. If you'd like to call in, Sal, by all means. Call in, say hi, check in, let us know if you're good. Okay, buddy? Anyway, so that's kind of where it's at. And by the way, here you go. Here's the difference in my life then and my life now. Experience, strength, and hope, right? What it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. What it was like, I would agonize and agonize and agonize over this. So far, I've just agonized and agonized. I haven't done the third agonize. All right, I would never live out loud about this. I would never say it out loud. I would never indict myself. I would never drop a dime on myself. I would internalize it and therefore become sick because of that secret. Now, I'm talking about it. Boom. Okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is when this program is over, as I sit here looking out at a now just nice overcast morning here in the UK, when this program is over, I'm going to tell Bill and Yuri, I'm going to tell them to have a happy new year and that I love them. And I'm going to go upstairs here in my in-laws' house. I'm going to put on my running gear and I'm going to go out for a run. And I'm going to burn off as much angst and anxiety and stress as I can muster. I'm probably going to run a little faster and certainly a little farther than I normally would when I'm here in England. And I'm going to do it with great intensity because I know in my sobriety, and I know that when in the past I would have turned to a drink or an anti-anxiety drug or some sort of other drug, medication, rather than going for medication, and I'm not indicting medications, people need them. I didn't. I'm going to go out and I'm going to stress my body so much that it lessens the stress on my mind. I highly recommend doing that. I should have done it the other day. I should have taken a break. I should have taken a walk when I was caught up in the moment of wanting to make a purchase that I knew was going to go sideways. And I didn't. But today, talking about it, doing the opposite. Contrary action. So I'm going to get out there and I'm going to run. That's what you got to do. So 1-800-848-9222. As we close out the final 20 minutes of 2025 for Another Side of Midnight, going to venture into some classic New Year talk radio stuff, and I'm asking for any predictions that you might have, any ideas of what might happen in the new year in 2026? What do you predict will happen? I know that we've got Bob in Boston ready to go, so we'll talk to him in a moment, with his prediction. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen with this Mamdani character that we've all been just talking about to death? What's going to happen with Mamdani? What's going to happen with the midterms? I am already just sort of kind of kicking it to the curb. I think I have a gut feeling that the Republicans are going to lose control of the House, and that scares the living daylights out of me, because there ends, for all intents and purposes, because there would end the Trump presidency, really, the Trump initiatives. Gonzville. And there might begin 2.5 years of impeachments, or attempted impeachments, because I think the Republicans, for some reason, I think the Republicans will hold on to the Senate, but they're going to lose the House. That's my feeling. And I also think part of that process is going to be Jasmine Crockett in Texas is going to win her primary and then get absolutely shredded, by the grace of God, shredded in the general election in Texas. So that's my thought. That's my prediction. Those are my just couple of little contributions. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Bob in Boston. The aforementioned Bob. Good morning. Oh, he's gone? No more Bob. All right, Bob, you're welcome to call back, baby. Sorry. Bob had an interesting thought. Hey, he had an interesting, prediction. So Bob, if you want to call back with your prediction, by all means, you are more than welcome to rejoin. But yeah, I think here's another prediction. And again, this sort of idea is, whatchamacallit, this, not sort of idea, but this prediction, this perspective, there you go, that's the word I was looking for. This perspective is based upon time that I've spent here in the UK. And very often things slide back and forth across the Atlantic. They say, here in England, they say that, when America sneezes, the UK catches a cold. That's kind of a typical, saying here. And sometimes it does go the reverse. Like right now, I'm very, very concerned about free speech issues here in the United Kingdom. I'm very, very concerned about migration issues here in the UK that are showing certain symptoms that we're going to be experiencing in the United States. And one of them is something that reared its head here in the UK a few years ago, and I remember reading about it on a plane from Los Angeles to the United Kingdom to see my wife's family, not too far into our marriage, and I believe it was, but it was certainly, I forget the exact time frame, but it was on a flight. I remember reading in a newspaper on a flight to the United Kingdom, reading a statistic, or rather a little factoid. That's right, a factoid. And that was about the number one name for boys. They always do the year in review, and they talk about trending names for boy and girl babies. And it had finally landed at number one in the United Kingdom. The number one name that year, I'm going to forget the year, was Muhammad. In the United Kingdom, the land of Trevors and Olivers and Richards and Williams. And all of a sudden, Muhammad landed at the top of the list. And that was jarring for a lot of people. And it was interesting for, I think, probably everybody. Well, the top 10 baby names in New York City for 2024, all right? We finally get this bit of research here at the end of 2025. So we have a whole year now to see where this name landed in 2025. Top 10 baby names, New York City, 2024. Number 10, a tie between Dylan with a Y, Dylan for boys, and Muhammad. Now that's interesting. I'm surprised that Muhammad is only number 10 in 2024. Now, here is the really interesting, for me, the part of this, that, because for the leading into the show, I was hyper focused, obviously, on the Muhammad thing, the tie with Dylan, the very, very Gen Z choice of Dylan for a boy being all the way up at number 9, tied with Muhammad at 10, at number 9 and 10. But dig this. The number 1, and now does this provide solace? Does this provide comfort? Does this provide an aha and an FU to people's fears that might be, or concerns rather, that might be associated with the Islamification of New York? The number 1 name in 2024 was the very biblical, the very Jewish Noah. The very biblical Old Testament Noah was number 1. Now here's the difference though. Dollars to donuts, those parents naming their kid Noah were not doing it in the biblical sense, but the fact that it was just so, perfect on paper. Whereas the Mohammeds, they're in business. All right, let's take a quick break here. Your predictions as we wrap up. We'll do kind of a round of predictions if you guys want to participate in that sort of New Year talk radio fodder. By all means, let's do it. I've given you my couple of predictions. 1-800-848-9222. Mary also, when we come back, Mary wants to chime in on our previous or earlier topic that was driving the show about scams. Interesting one. I do recognize what she's talking about. Let's quick take our last break of 2025, and we'll come back with Mary, Mike, and you if you wish. 1-800-848-9222. It's another side of midnight with me, TJ McCormack, on the Red Apple Audio Network.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Bad thoughts out. Good thoughts in. Thank you. Oh my God. I don't want to get caught up, running away from the music at the end of the program. So I want to, in advance, acknowledge and thank the dudes that have primarily been the dudes that have been looking after me since I started in April at 77 WABC in New York and now on the Red Apple Audio Network. So I want to thank Bill and Tony and Yuri, the fellas who have primarily been the dudes looking after me, producing the program and doing all the pre-interviews and playing the music and screening the calls. And I'm grateful to those fellas and to Kevin, program program director, and to Chad Lopez, and to John Katsimatidis, and everybody at 77 WABC. Grateful, grateful, grateful for this gift that I was not expecting in the year 2025. It's a life changer. It's a game changer. It's like just probably about everybody at 77 WABC. A dream that is crazy to imagine has come true. To be on the number one, largest, biggest, greatest talk station in the world, on the planet. We invented it, and we do it better than anyone else. And to be on this team with the Rosenbergs and the Kellys and to everybody, unbelievable. The Dominic Carters, the Rita Cosby's. You got to be kidding me. So thank you. And the Lionels, my goodness gracious. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to those fellas. And to you guys who listen and call and support and tweet and Instagram and everything about this show. Unbelievable gratitude to you, the listeners. Ultimately, the rubber hits the road where you are. And so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so sincerely, absolutely, with every chromosome in my body, with every atom, I say thank you so very much. I could not be more grateful to be here and talk to you and have you listen and talk to me. Unbelievable. Thank you. And so let's please very quickly, let's touch very quickly to, let me get over to Mike in South Carolina. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, TJ. Hey. I tried to buzz you yesterday. It was busy, but
awesome.
I'll tell you this. You are the shining star on the weekends for WABC. What can I say?
Thank you.
And you know what? We only go around once in this life, people, so try to make the best of every day. Every day. I'm going on 72 in May, so time is just flying by. And raise a glass of water. Let's put it that way. Or raise a glass to you, TJ, because you got the great mojo on the radio. What can I say?
Thank you, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You make the show better every single weekend. Thank you, Mike. Be safe, be well. Happy New Year to you. Good guy, George in Long Island. George, quickly, let's talk about your interesting subject.
Yeah, hi, TJ.
Hi
over 50 years ago, I became a uniform court officer, and I was a Greek kid from Brooklyn, and most of the guys were Irish. And at lunchtime, they all used to go out the back door to the local famous pub there. I'm not saying Irish are all drunks, but I think there's a lot of cultural thing to alcoholism.
Sure.
I used to joke. I used to joke with them. I stayed home. I stayed in the courthouse and studied. I became the boss, and a lot of them became alcoholics. Wow. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Am I making any sense?
You are. No, listen. I tell you what, George. I'm here in the United Kingdom, and there is a pub culture, and we were in a pub visiting with family that we don't often get to see the other day, and we were surrounded not by the family, but by people, the regulars at this particular pub here in Liverpool. And I'm telling you, man, they go from 0 to 60, and they start at like 18 years old. And the drinking culture here in UK is alive and well, and it's intense. There is a lot of drinking, and it's cultural. It surrounds football. It surrounds the pub culture, soccer. It surrounds sports, and it surrounds family gatherings. It is real in the UK, and it's real in the US for other cultural things. But no, definitely the pub culture here is clearly and obviously based on booze, and they do it really well and really intensely. Thank you, George. No, I think you're completely right. And I'm Irish, and so yeah, Irish wakes. Jeez. Mary in Brooklyn, good morning.
Hi.
Hi, Mary.
How do you hear me? So, I'm in National Grid. What do we call that? They were having problems billing me. And I definitely had a turn-off notice in the mail when I really didn't owe them much. And I was in Jerusalem. My husband was in Brooklyn. And I get a call that they're going to close my electric any minute now. They're at my door, etc. And I'm very good at declining these things, but it was so true. I had a letter that said we're going to disconnect, and my husband was all by himself, and he panics, So I wanted to give them a credit card. They go, no, we want Zelle. And now, long story short, because it took my half hour. I was going to the engagement party of my granddaughter, and the Verizon somehow got stuck, my long distance phone, and they couldn't, the bank wanted to call me back, and they couldn't reach me, and they couldn't verify, and boom, it was 900 and change.
Good.
And by the skin of my teeth, it was such a good experience. Trust me.
Good.
It made me so much more wary of all these stupid phone calls you get 4 or 5 times a day. But it was a good lesson that I didn't lose.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. My son said, they didn't know nothing. They have no clue. They just feed you. They said connection, and I practically gave them the numbers. I got so nervous. They literally take advantage of your thoughts.
Yeah, they do. And you know what? Again, as we've said all show, and thank you, love. Thank you so much for calling in. I do appreciate it. Mary, in Brooklyn. Look, the takeaway here, they're pros. They know what they're doing. They're soulless. They're godless. They are bereft of any conscience. And they play upon and prey upon your fears, your joys, your needs, your wants, and your weaknesses. On that happy note, hey! Oh, the joy. Listen to that. Your wants, your needs, your fears, they prey upon them. Happy New Year, everybody. All right, gang. So listen, I think we had a good bloodletting. I think we had a good come to Jesus here on the final Sunday of 2025, the final program. Guys, I reiterate and restate my gratitude to all of you. I love my wife. I love my girls. I love my family. Truth, justice in the American way. I love you. I'm grateful. And I will talk to you in 2026 next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 5 a.m. Eastern on the Red Apple Audio Networks. I can't believe I get to say it's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on 77 WABC and the Red Apple Audio Networks. Talk to you next week. And until then, I wish you all the luck in the world. Happy New Year.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.